Here's something nobody in the POD space wants to hear. More designs aren't the answer. More listings aren't the answer. More automations aren't going to get you there faster. And I can prove it using Etsy's own algorithm. If you've been in print on demand for any amount of time, you've heard the advice. Post more, scale faster, automate everything. Volume is the game. And the logic sounds, solid on the surface. More listings means more chances to be found, right? So sellers grind. They use AI to pump out designs. They list 500, 600, 700 products. And then they wonder why their shop feels invisible. So here's what's actually happening. Your brain loves the volume strategy. Every time you hit publish on a new listing, you get a little dopamine hit. Progress, momentum, proof you're doing something. And a POD space has built the perfect system to feed that loop. Bulk upload tools, AI design generators, courses promising results through pure output. The problem isn't effort. The problem is that Etsy's algorithm doesn't care how many listings you have. It cares how each one performs. This is also why most of you who are using bulk upload tools so you can upload 100 listings a minute are trying to implement a shortcut that doesn't exist. The sales pitch for it sounds good, but it doesn't work in your favor. Fewer listings with actual thought behind them will always outperform a bloated shop built on volume. Always. There is a misconception here that more products in a single listing means more people will buy a product they want with that potential same design on it. And as a result, your listing will convert more. Well, I used to do this up until about 6-7 years ago, just because it's not true. People are buying the design's message on the first item they see. Usually also in the color shirt that you use for your first main mockup. Don't believe me? Go look at your own stats. Another bad thing about this is that if you have hoodie in the title or show a pic of a hoodie as the main image and they buy a t-shirt, it'll be a matter of time before someone opens up a case because you sent a tee instead of a hoodie that was in the title or even the main photo, even if they actually selected t-shirt from the size menu. And Etsy will find in their favor because that's what you showed in the picture. Do I sometimes add a second item to a listing? Yes. But usually not more than 2 or 3 products, and usually not very often if I do. Think like short versus long sleeve tees, and then maybe crew neck or hooded sweatshirts. Here's how Etsy actually works, and I'm pulling this directly from Etsy's own seller handbook with link will be in the description. Their ranking system runs in 2 main stages. Stage 1 is query matching. So keywords in your title, your tags, and including your attributes now determine whether your listing shows up in search results. No match, no visibility. That's the entry ticket. Stage 2, though, is where most sellers lose. Once you're in that pool, Etsy ranks listings based on performance, click-through rate, conversion rate, favorites, and purchases. And according to Etsy directly, they rank listings based on which ones buyers are most likely to purchase earlier in the results. And here's the part that should, really hit here. 46%, so almost 50% of all Etsy sales are now happening inside the app. Buyers are scrolling fast through a visual feed. The algorithm behaves more like TikTok or Pinterest than a traditional search engine. What that means for you is that your thumbnail, your design, is doing the heavy lifting before a single person even clicks. If it doesn't stop the scroll, nothing else matters. Your SEO doesn't matter, your description doesn't matter, and your price doesn't matter. Add to that, now third-party SEO analysts have also noted that Etsy appears to be tracking dwell time, meaning how long someone actually stays on your listing after clicking it and before they click away. And if they click and bounce immediately, that's a negative signal. If they stay, scroll, watch your video, that works in your favor. Etsy hasn't published a standalone article specifically naming dwell time, but their own guidance on conversion rate and listing engagement points pretty much exactly to this behavior. I'll link the Etsy source below so you can read it yourself. Bottom line is a listing with 10 favorites and 0 sales ranks below a listing with 0 favorites and 2 sales. Conversion beats volume every time. So when you flood your shop with weak designs, you're not building momentum. You're training Etsy to ignore you. Low converting listings drag down your shop's overall quality score. That affects every listing you have, including your good ones. Just kind of common sense here, right? You're not scaling, you're diluting. And there are a few other mistakes I see constantly that are making this all worse. Crappy mockups. If your mockup looks flat, fake, or low resolution, buyers scroll right past it. Not to mention that you shouldn't even be using AI as the first image anyway. Your design might be great, but they'll never know because you didn't pick one that speaks to your ideal customer and stops the scroll. The mockup is the first impression, and a bad one is worse than not even having a listing up at all. The next is loss leaders. It's not even called loss leaders, but we're going to go with that for right now because it's what everybody out there is calling it. We're going to call them loss leaders for about 30 seconds here. You've seen this on Etsy before. Something like a $7 listing, you click on it and suddenly it's $35 if you pick a different size, right? That's a bait and switch dressed up as a pricing strategy. It's not something I do and it's not something I recommend. Not because it never works for anybody, but because you flat out don't need to do it. I sell print-on-demand products every single day without doing this slimy, scammy tactic. It feels grimy, feels like used car salesman type stuff, and there's usually a clean, easier way to get the same result. And what this actually is called price anchoring. And when I say it's not called loss leader, that's because a loss leader is literally something that people do buy and intend to buy. So a loss leader at a grocery store, for example, could be a pack of hot dogs on sale for 99 cents that is normally like $3 or $4. The principle here is that it's a loss leader, meaning they are actually going to take a loss on that item, but they're hoping that you stick around and buy more things. It's what draws you into the store. On Etsy, that's not what's happening here. This is price anchoring. This is basically using a lower forward-facing listing price to draw in a customer, but then switching, and in many cases, not even allowing them to purchase that product. Like it could be out of stock. It's illegal and it's slimy. And I have another big one I'm going to talk about with a simple fix that I'll mention in a minute. Quick pause though. According to YouTube, 77% of the people watching this video are not subscribed to this channel. That means that most of you are getting value here and YouTube has no idea that you exist. Subscribing is free, takes 2 seconds, it helps me, and it's the clearest signal that you can send to the algorithm that this content is worth showing to more people. So if this hits, please just hit subscribe. All right, back at it. So if volume isn't the answer, then what is? Better designs, fewer of them, built to convert. Your first photo isn't a mock-up. It's your sales pitch. It has to communicate the right product to the right person instantly on a 4-inch screen. That means the design itself has to hit, not just look fine, hit. Generic AI output doesn't do that. Listing quantity for the sake of quantity doesn't do that. What does? A design with a point of view, one that speaks to a specific person about something they actually care about. Something that feels like it was made with intention for that particular person and not generated in 3 or 10 seconds and then uploaded in bulk. A stronger design process means every listing you put out works harder. Better clicks, better conversions, better signals to Etsy, more visibility, and more sales. One great listing will outperform 50 average ones every single time. The sellers winning on Etsy right now aren't the ones with the biggest shops. They're the ones whose designs stop the scroll, whose thumbnails earn the click, whose listings convert at higher margins because the product actually connects with the person looking at it. That's a design problem, not a volume problem. And the good news, design is learnable, not just the technical side, but the strategic and psychological side. Understanding what makes someone stop, click, and actually pull out their cart. If you want to work on that, I have 2 options depending on where you're at. The Shirtheads is where we focus purely on design, strengthening it, reworking it, making it actually convert. It's $7 a month right now, and that price is going up to $15 once we hit 200 members. So if you're even slightly curious, now is the time. Links in the description, and you can try it for free for a week. But if you want to go beyond that design strategy into, mindset, understanding your numbers, and building a shop that actually scales, that's the Inner Circle, also in the description. Both are there if you want to level up your design game. Stop guessing. The last major mistake I see is everyone putting all their efforts into SEO. There's endless amounts of tools that will show data on search volume, but that's all good and nice if the results weren't skewed. So what do I mean by that? Well, a member in my Inner Circle coaching group has uncovered a plot by a bunch of shops. And when I say a bunch of shops, I mean like 40 so far that we've counted to skew Etsy's stats. They're faking reviews and even illegally buying from each other to inflate their numbers and get popular now and bestseller badges quickly. They're tricking customers here, but they're also tricking Etsy and thereby the tools that you're using to show you what's hot right now. If you want to know more about this, drop a comment with the words bestsellers and I'll do my best to finish it up. It's been a labor of love here, or a labor of loathe and love, and a ton of research and watching and waiting so far. And yes, we'll be reporting it to Etsy. So what's the fix then if the stats are skewed? 2 things. 1, my niche Radar GPT will absolutely help you generate optimized POD tags analyze niche saturation, find listing gaps, and create stronger listings for Etsy, Shopify, and Amazon merch. You tell it your niche or product idea, or even just a keyword, it'll analyze search intent, competition, listing opportunities, and generate tags and titles that actual humans might type into the search bar. And the second option, do your niche research with the intention of knowing more about that niche and a few ideal customers than your competition. I'm talking about the funny inside jokes, the things that only they know, the phrases they use, their favorite colors, fonts, their emotional buying triggers so that when they see it in search results, they say, holy crap, that's perfect. Look, the POD rat race is real. More, louder, faster. But the sellers doing this full time, and I'm one of them, we slowed down. We got better. We built fewer listings that just worked harder. I've been saying it for years now, but you're finally hearing other YouTubers say it too. That's the game worth playing. Nobody needs to burn out, and nobody needs to fill more space with more. Anyway, next video, I'm going deep on what actually makes a design convert on Etsy's mobile feed right now. Specific elements, not theory. And if you're in that 77% who watched all the way to the end without subscribing, you know what to do. See you in the next one.